My female 32, sister Emma, female 29, has always wanted to have kids and be a stay-at-home mom. That's literally all she dreamed about. A big wedding, house, kids. I have a very different idea of life in the opposite direction, as in career and child-free. Let me be clear, I'm not ditching her choice. Every person has the right to make their own choices, but I don't think forcing other people to bear the brunt of your choices is good. To get to the story, our parents spent a fortune on my sister's wedding. She got married around 5 years ago. They have trouble conceiving and have already gone through 2 sets of IVF. It is sad. Our parents don't have any money to help them, and neither does brother-in-law's family. From what I know, they don't have savings, are renting, and have yet to pay off their student loans. A few weeks ago, they asked if I could help them, and I said no. They asked why. I just told them my answer was no. I'm sorry for them. I won't give them money. They kept pushing about it, saying I go on exotic vacations and own a house. I do. I worked hard in college with a full scholarship and immediately got a well-paying job. I lived within my means and saved up to buy my own house. It's not much, just a 2 BHK apartment, but to me it's great. I said my financial status is none of their business. If they want to have a family, they need to be able to afford it themselves. Do not ask me. My sister got mad at me, saying I refused to help her because I hate children. I'm punishing her for her choices. I said I was doing no such thing. She's entitled to her choices, but I'm not obliged to fund her. She's really mad at me for not helping, and my parents are asking me to. They're saying no matter my choices, I should support my sister as much as I can. I'm still not on board since I believe only people who can afford kids should have them, and that I shouldn't have to pay for her choices. My sister, her husband, and his family are calling me an idiot. Am I the idiot for not supporting my sister and having a baby? Not the idiot. You are not in any universe responsible for your sister's fertility issues. IVF is 5 figures minimum. You're not required to fund that for anyone. And the thing is, where does it stop? If this IVF doesn't work, then what? Do you pay for another? And then she'll ask you for an egg, and then expect you to pay for an adoption. Pay for childcare? Nope, nope, nope. Their decisions, their responsibility. Meanwhile, OP's vacation trips are probably nowhere near 5 figures a year, yet the sisters and parents expect OP to fund more IVF treatment, while the previous 2 already failed. Even worse, if it is successful, they'll expect OP to support the baby's childcare and life as if she's the parent. It's clear a family's trying to abuse her and use her financially. She wouldn't be wrong to cut them off. I love the sister's accusation about punishing her for her decisions, when OP's sister was just getting a taste of the consequences of her decisions. Tell your sister that her choices are hers to fund alone. If she can't see that sense, ask her to pay for your next exotic vacation and see how quickly that conversation gets shut down. Money does not make for healthy relationships. Stand firm. Tell your parents you have to save for your wedding and possibly fertility treatments in the future because they spent everything on Emma. Unless they can guarantee you the same amount for each possibility, they can't come back from that, and they've left you in this situation. Tell Emma the same. I came here to say this. She's an adult who has chosen to be a housewife, not work, and rely on her husband to support her. OP does not owe her a thing. Also, a fun fact, some employers help fund IVF and past student loans. OP's sister should try to get a job at one of those places, a salary and benefits. Shame on her family for trying to guilt her into funding her sister's life. My 39 male, wife 37, came to me yesterday after our daughter, teen, left for school, looking like she'd just lost a family member, and told me, I was walking by daughter's name, room, and I saw her struggle to get her pants on. I already knew where this was going. Yes, our daughter has gained weight over the past year or so, but it's not at this dire level where she's barely mobile and bedridden. What my wife has done in the past is come to me with these concerns, as she calls them, telling me about our daughter's shirt looking snug, about how our daughter's stomach looked bigger, while she and my wife were just watching TV on the couch together. My wife continued, "Those pants have never looked tighter on her. She's never looked bigger from behind." I told her I wasn't doing this. I'm not having this talk. My wife tells me our daughter is still getting fatter and that I don't care. I told her I care, but I'm not going to start a conversation on the foundation of her stomach is big, her butt is big. My wife tells me she's just explaining what she sees and that a teen girl struggling into her pants is a red flag. I reiterated that I wasn't doing this talk. She said we have to. I told her I wasn't going to discuss this again and that I didn't want her bringing it up and left the room. She said I was being demanding. Am I the idiot? Edit. I know my daughter's overweight, like 25 to 30 pounds overweight. I'd guess which on that front, my wife's core concern is valid, but she's never discussed it with our daughter. I'm 100% sure our daughter knows she's put on weight. She eats pretty unhealthy food at school, and then if she goes to a friend's place afterward, they snack. Dinner with us is healthy. What she gets herself on weekends is unhealthy. She doesn't exercise. We have yet to see a doctor about it. You are the idiot. Do not ignore her being overweight. Her weight struggles will only get worse with age. You are responsible for her health, so her being unhealthy is fully on you. You and your wife do need to have conversations about encouraging your daughter to make healthier choices now, because the habits are way harder to break in adulthood and have more obvious consequences as the metabolism slows down and symptoms of poor diet and lack of exercise become more prominent. Don't talk about her weight to her face, but you guys need to steer her in the right direction. By ignoring it, you're the problem. Dude's not the problem. He didn't say he wouldn't discuss his daughter's health. He said he wouldn't start with the foundation of his wife trashing her looks. He may be concerned about her health if she's overweight, but that's not his wife's concern, or at least not the one she's presenting. His wife seems overly concerned about how her daughter looks than her health. You're both being morons. Your wife doesn't need to make disparaging comments about your daughter's appearance to have a serious discussion with you about her health. You don't need to have everything sanitized to have the same discussion. Both of you need to come together, preferably with the input and support from the pediatrician, and figure out how to help your kid without killing her self-esteem. You're failing your daughter. It's only going to get worse. My wife and I brought a daughter from previous relationships into our marriage. Despite being only a year apart in age, our daughters are utterly different, and that's why I'm here. My daughter's always been athletic and outgoing. Growing up, she played basketball, softball, soccer, volleyball, and golf. In middle school, she picked up tennis and never looked back. I paid for her to have private lessons, and when she found out how much I was paying for those lessons, she decided that's what she wanted to do as her teenage job. She's now a junior, is one of the best players on her high school team, and teaches tennis lessons. She teaches elementary school kids and charges $75 per hour per kid. With her skills and outgoing personality, she has a waiting list of kids and makes about $1,200 a week. She could make more, but I limit her hours so that she can concentrate on school. My stepdaughter's reserved and not very athletic. We always tried to sign her up for the same sport and team as my daughter, but she either objected or quit a few weeks in. I get it. Sports are not for everyone, so I never made her feel bad about it. She's a teen and got a job at a nearby burger place. She's making $13 an hour and brings home less than $200 a week. My daughter recently decided that she wants to be independent by buying her clothes and electronics with her own money. She can afford the latest styles and gadgets. She recently bought herself the top-of-the-line Mac. My stepdaughter's jealous of her sister and has been very vocal about it. While we were in bed last night, my wife said it was unfair one is making so much more than the other. I answered that there's nothing we can do about it, and it's a good life lesson for the girls. My wife then suggested we have my daughter use her money to help my stepdaughter buy the same things, or we cover the pay difference between the girls. I laughed because I thought she was joking, but she wasn't. We whisper argued for about an hour before we went to sleep. This morning she brought it up again and accused me of refusing because I'm playing favorites, and that's an idiot move for a parent. We argued until we had to leave for work. Not the idiot, but you will be if you force your daughter to give her money to your stepdaughter or pay for your stepdaughter to buy the same stuff as your daughter. Honestly, your wife gets a major side eye for just the suggestion, and from now on, you need to be watching her behavior closely. If one daughter becomes a doctor and the other drops out of school, will your wife cover the differences in salary so they can have the same size house? I can barely imagine a worse idea than your wife's in this situation. One daughter learns that effort doesn't affect outcomes, and the other learns that you think other people are entitled to the money she works hard to earn. If your wife wants things to be fair, she needs to cultivate some ambition in her kid, not punish your kid for success. Why would you punish one kid to benefit the other? The one who makes less is learning that she needs to learn valuable skills to pay for what she wants. The one who makes more is reaping the benefits of consistent effort. You should look into getting your stepdaughter lessons in things that interest her, not just what her stepsister's doing. Help her try some things out. Buy her a few things so she doesn't feel left behind, but not as nice as your other daughter can buy for herself. Yeah, but she's also ripping the profit from very expensive tennis lessons that she received in the past and probably still does. It's like I send a kid to Ivy League and another to community college, and then I expect them to get the same job. The stepdaughter's not entitled to her sister's money, but did OP and his wife give both girls the same opportunities? My wife, 23, and I, 25 male, are having our first child together. She's currently 9 months pregnant and could give birth any time in the next couple of weeks. The only major fight we've had throughout her pregnancy happened a couple of days ago, and it was about what we would name our kid. It all started when we found out the gender of the baby. We didn't do a gender reveal and decided to find out the gender at one of her checkups because we didn't want to spend the time making 2 lists of names and then have to get rid of one after. So after we found out we were having a boy, we sat down together and made a list. Almost all the names she suggested were normal until the one that caused me to write this post. She suggested we name our son Mune. She told me the name was from a movie she watched when she was younger and that it always stuck with her. I told her the name was a little out there and he would get made fun of for it. She claimed he wouldn't, and we started going back and forth, trying to decide whether to add the name to the list or not. Eventually, she agreed to keep the name off the list. We picked some that we liked, and I thought that was that. Later in her pregnancy, her mom threw a baby shower, as was her first grandchild, and my wife's pregnancy was almost over, and we hadn't celebrated once. It was fine for the most part until we started to open the gifts. Most were normal baby things like diapers and bottles until we got to her mom's gift. My wife opened the gift bag and pulled out a blue handmade blanket. It seemed normal enough at first until my wife unfolded it, and lo and behold, there was the name Mune written on the blanket. I was angry but didn't want to cause a scene when I saw it, so I stayed quiet. After that reveal, family members came up to me and asked me about the name and why I hadn't told them. I didn't know what to say to them, as I didn't have a clue about this either and just had to embarrassingly tell my family that, which made me even more angry. Once the event ended and my wife and I went home, I started questioning her about the name. She got defensive and told me it was a good name and that I was overreacting. I brought up the earlier points and told her it was a stupid name for a kid, and if she wanted to name something Mune so bad, she could use the name for a dog. She got upset and called her mom to get her. After she left, she called me and told me she wouldn't return for a while. Everyone I've talked to about this said I'm not the idiot, but now that my wife has been gone and I've been thinking about it, I feel like I could have handled the situation better. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. I think that naming your children after fictional characters is not a good idea. I know your wife liked that French animated movie, but she should consider that naming a baby is not the same as naming a pet. I hope the kid doesn't have Beavis and Butthead as classmates. I completely agree with this. That reminds me of GOT, when people got angry that they named their child Daenerys before the books or TV show was finished, and they decided she would become a mad queen and ended up with a not-so-happy ending. That being said, has your wife done any research on this name? Myun means breast in Japanese. Does she even like your kid? OP should send a text to Grandma with that little tidbit of information. Use Grandma to his advantage like his wife did. There is no way Grandma wants her grandson named Breast. This is one of those 2 yeses, 1 no situation. You did not have 2 yeses, but your wife proceeded as though you did, even going behind your back to do so. Brilliant idea. OP, text the name translations to Grandma and your wife. She opened the argument to the family. Let the weight of public opinion fall upon her, Myun. Uno reverse her. Oh, and post it on social media. Hallie, my husband's niece, is a tween. We were out of town for her birthday. Yesterday, we went over to mother-in-law's house for lunch. My husband's siblings and some of their kids were also there, especially for this story, Abby, who's a younger tween. So we brought the gift to give to Hallie. I didn't think it was a big deal. Abby also got a present from us for her birthday a few months ago. They're in the same price range, $45. So it's not like we gave Abby a pencil for her birthday and Hallie an Xbox. Right before we left, I gave Hallie my car keys and told her to grab her present from the car. Abby went with her and came back and immediately started whining that she didn't get a gift. I explained it was for Hallie's birthday, and then Abby went to her parents and started a full-on tantrum. Now Abby's dad is mad at us, saying we should have given Hallie her present more discreetly because it's not fair for one kid to get something. Funnily enough, my younger nephew understood the concept of a birthday present and happily sat on the floor while Hallie showed it to him. My husband and I are saying it's ridiculous to turn this around on us, and everything was getting very unnecessarily heated, in my opinion. Abby's parents are harping on about fairness, and then going in on mother-in-law for letting Hallie open the gift and saying she should have been made to wait at least. Hallie's parents weren't there. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Abby's a tween, not a toddler. She's easily old enough to understand that she doesn't always get a present and the concept around why someone gets presents for a birthday. Her parents are the idiots for not teaching her this. She's way too old to still behave this way, unless she has a developmental delay and genuinely can't help it. And that doesn't sound like it's the case. Man, did Abby only get 35 presents this year? And last year she got 36? Birthdays are when you do get to have your presents and the other people around you don't. The birthday child is meant to be treated as special in a minor way for that one day. That's the whole point of birthday gifts and celebrations. It's not an extra Christmas where everyone gets a gift. Abby sounds like a spoiled brat, and the parents are indulging her bad behavior.